So the final trailer for Eternals came out and it looks, weird. Seriously, are they gods? Aliens? Is that Superman at the end there? And why is Angelina Jolie in this movie if she's not the lead? From the outside, it does look like this is the strangest choice for Phase 4, considering the fact that they could have done 1,000 other fan-favorite projects instead. Well, the history of the Eternals could very well illuminate the MCU's past, enhance its present, and lay the foundation for a bright future. The Marvel Cinematic Universe is full of weird beings.
Why would you think that?
You've got Nordic gods, sorcerers, super soldiers, and even talking raccoons. So how exactly do these new Eternal guys fit in?
Who do you think's gonna lead the Avengers?
I could lead them.
Well, for this, we've got to go all the way back to the beginning of human history. In the original Jack Kirby stories, it's explicitly stated that these giant, unknowable, godlike beings called Celestials visited Earth. Yes, the same Celestials from the Guardians movies. The giant that wields the Power Stone, the enormous skull planet of Nowhere, and Ego, the living planet, are all Celestials. So a few of these guys came around to Earth at the dawn of human evolution. There, they created both the Eternals, beautiful immortal humanoids with incredible powers, and the Deviants, hideous creatures who had infinitely diverse offspring. While the Eternals couldn't procreate with much success, the Deviants bred like bunnies and decided to take over the human race. Armies of Deviants clashed with a handful of Eternals, but since the latter beings were immortal, they drove the monsters back, allowing humanity to thrive. Over the years, the Eternals have appeared off and on again to the human race, helping and often getting mistaken for mythical beings like Greek gods, who actually did exist in the Marvel Universe. So that brings us all the way to today, where the Eternals seem to be hanging out among mankind.
And what's this even made of? Vibranium? IKEA.
Now you may be wondering why they didn't help fight against Loki, the Dark Elves, Ultron, Thanos, Dormammu, or any of the other 10,000 things that try to destroy Earth in the MCU every year. Well, from the trailer it's clear that the Eternals can only interfere with events if a deviant from Earth is involved. Even if they wanted to help. It was recently revealed in Marvel Comics that it's more or less impossible for an Eternal to go against the wishes of a Celestial. That's right. Like a content creator on YouTube, they serve a higher power and cannot choose to defy it. So who are these Eternal guys and why do they all look like actors from Game of Thrones? First, we've got Ikaris. He's not the leader of the Eternals, but he's usually the main character. Ikaris took his name from his son who, like the myth, flew too close to the sun and fell to his end. In the film, it seems like he's become cold to humanity unlike some of the others. He does a pretty good Superman impression with flight, super strength, and the ability to shoot beams out of his eyes that are yellow instead of red because Warner Bros. Is litigious. Next we have Cersi, the lead of the film who seems very different from her comic counterpart. She has a deep bond with humanity and to Ikaris. They have been in love for centuries, but she's currently dating Dane Whitman, otherwise known as the latest in the long line of Marvel superheroes known as the Black Knight. That's right, Gemma Chan went from playing a throwaway Kree soldier in Captain Marvel to being in the middle of a Stark brothers love triangle. And you know what? Good for her. Speeding through the rest of these, we have Ajak, who serves as the leader in the MCU version. She communes with the Celestials for them. Kingo, played by a jacked Kumail Nanjiani, shoots projectiles out of his hands when he isn't a Bollywood superstar. Phastos is the team's brilliant weapons designer and the first openly gay Marvel superhero. Makkari, often confused for the god Mercury, is a speedster who will be portrayed as deaf in the film. Druig, who can manipulate minds, will evidently be something of a secondary villain, while Sprite, the eternal child who can create illusions, won't be, despite a sketchy history in the comics. Next, we have Gilgamesh, the super strong Eternal, who will be played by the scene-stealing Don Lee from Train to Busan. Finally, we have Thena, the elite warrior who can create weapons on the fly, played by the one and only Angelina Jolie. In the comics, she was the daughter of the team's original leader, Xurus. She has a scandalous affair with the leader of the Deviants known as Crow, who has complete control over his body, allowing him to live forever like an Eternal and frequently pose as the devil to scare humans. When all of the Eternals get together, they can form this thing called the Unimind to pool their abilities and intellects in order to save the world. Pretty sure we see a glimpse of this in the trailer. So I think the biggest question the internet seems to be having right now is, why the Eternals? They don't even have a 90s cartoon! Well, while the characters aren't the most popular in Marvel's pantheon, they could serve as a bridge between all of the disparate mythologies. You see, the Celestials messed around on other planets as well, creating Eternals and Deviants on other planets like Titan, where Thanos was born as a Deviant. The experiments of the Celestials also allowed for humans to become mutants like the X-Men. In the MCU, mutants could be progeny of the Eternals whose powers are awakened by this mysterious emergence. The MCU could go nuts with this, establishing that Asgardians are a different branch of Eternals, that the Eternals taught the first sorcerers, that they were responsible for sinking Namor's Atlantis, and that Kree experiments on Eternals led to the Inhumans. So this one movie may very well link the entire MCU, while plotting a course into its mutant-filled future. That or the celestial Arishem the Judge might find humanity wanting and destroy them all? I guess we'll find out. As excited as I am for Eternals, it's insane to me that they're getting an adaptation before the New Gods appear on the big screen. That's like getting Tolkien's Silmarillion adaptation before Lord of the Rings. Both may be good, but like, I would rather see Lord of the Rings.